No, thank you so much for being here. I want to kind of do a quick intro.
Sure. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, hi, I hope you all are doing well. My name is Desiree Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. This is the Desire Earth and Wellness podcast. Today we're here with Richardson.
Yes.
Yes, Richard Richardson. Met him. You'll see later as we kind of started a little bit, but met during he was on a walk. We were headed to a taco
Yeah.
stand. We both got some things. I thought he was reading the Bible, but he ended up sharing with me that he's just doing a read at the current time. What did you say you were reading?
Complete works of Shakespeare. I'm
Complete
not
works.
sure which play. I forget the play, but oh, they're also wonderful. Anyways.
But so we're just here. We've already kind of got started. Just wanted to come back and do the intro and go from there. So this is completely organic. We're
Okay.
learning all the things.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about your walking also.
Yeah.
I recently, like on June 11th or July 11th, I think it's June
Okay.
11th at this point. It was the strawberry moon, and it had nothing to do with like my reason for starting to walk, but I remember that day
Okay.
because of that. And I just started going walking, just taking extended walks, but still in a like a path.
Yeah.
Um, and it started off just something to do,
Yeah.
like I want to move my body,
Sure. Yeah.
and then it evolved to like this helps me think, this
Yeah.
helps me conceptualize.
Yeah.
What's your journey been like?
Yeah.
Walking.
So that particular period,
Mm,
the dark chapters.
mm.
How do you get out of that? And it's a complicated question. For me, I just started walking and praying. you know,
Ah.
that gave me some confidence that although there's still a sort of challenge, there's like a light on the horizon. And I always say it's just like the movie Forrest Gump, where he just started running and he didn't stop. I
Mm.
started walking and I looked up, I had walked like I think 40, 50,000 steps or something. And I thought, well, that was extremely cathartic. I feel great doing it. And, you know, let's just start making this a routine. So I just started, that first summer, in the heat too.
So how long ago
This
did
was
you
like 3 years
start?
ago, maybe 2.5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
2.5, 3 years ago. That first summer. Summer in Oklahoma. You can
Yeah,
have some
we
days that are
still here right
triple
now. It's
digits,
interesting.
yeah. But I just made it a point to get out there every day and just start walking. And I really felt like Forrest Gump. I just started, like, he just started running. I just start
Mm.
walking. I just started getting up early and just walking. Like half my day I was in the walking. And then I thought, well, God, this is a lot of time. I should start reading while I walk.
Mm-hmm.
And that just added a certain thing because, as you mentioned, when you're active, your brain, I think, functions better cognitively. So I started comprehending when I was reading more than just
Mm.
sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Mm-hmm.
it takes a lot of time to read. So you're killing two birds with one stone.
Absolutely.
Then it just seemed like, why wouldn't you do this? And it helped me transition into a healthier lifestyle, a healthier, getting back to myself, you could say. Oh, thank God I'm back to myself. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, you seem really fit. Were you already fit, or did you go through a time where
Yeah, I was probably
you
the,
mentioned Starbucks being like eating
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
That's that might be me, but
Yeah.
either way, like, where's your fitness journey
So
come
I
from?
think I come from a naturally athletic family.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather was a very athletic man.
Mm-hmm.
The men in my family tend to be more athletic
Mm-hmm.
outside. Um, so there was always that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if that correlates any to health. So you might say that I was fit-ish,
Mm-hmm.
very unhealthy, which led to some physical decline significantly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just walking back and cleaning up, you get right back on it. So I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it's just genetic. My family, we just get, I think, pretty good genes physically, at
Yeah.
least on the men's side.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's good.
yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
So, recently I had some friends too. I was in a group with them, and they did this 12-hour walk,
Okay.
silent walk.
Oh wow. Okay.
Have you heard of that?
No, I have not. No.
What's the longest you've walked? I mean, you said
Yeah.
45,000 steps.
Yeah, yeah. So I did
What does that look
so a good friend of mine, he comes to the city routinely, and
like?
he stays downtown when he's in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I've walked from downtown to pretty much this area here. I live in the area. So that, yeah, that was like, we had our fun night, 2 a.m. I got home like maybe at 6 a.m. It was like the sun was coming up. Oklahoma City is not a walkable city. As much as I love it, it's not a
It
walkable
doesn't
city.
have like the paths, etc. Is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
paths will just cut off clean.
Yeah.
Then you have some, it's just an open plain, but there's certain natural paths. Little
Mm-hmm.
forests will pop up.
Mm-hmm.
There's rivers. I'll tell you, Yukon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't live vehicularly. I don't live far from Yukon,
Mm-hmm.
but walking wise,
Mm.
on that uh, crossroad where Morgan Road is,
Oh
if
yeah.
you go right instead of left,
Mm-hmm.
there's a river that runs just.
Right, left. What is that? North, east or west?
Great questions.
Because
Let's
I
see.
like using that because it stays the same left and right.
Let's
It depends
see.
on where you're coming, right?
That old Express Ranch would be probably considered west-ish. So this would be southwest from where I would be.
Okay.
So walking back towards south
Mm,
and then going back west, I should have went east,
okay.
but I go west.
Mm.
The river runs its way all the way to the heart. And when I say heart of Yukon, I mean that where you see that big old factory that they got in their
Oh
downtown.
yeah. Mm.
That's quite a walk.
That
And
is a
so
walk.
it doesn't, but it's a quick drive, but it's quite a walk just walking all the way west
Mm.
and then having to go all the way down. I saw
Because
some,
what it does it go into? What's that lake called? Is it called? I feel like it's like
hmm,
you know what I'm
there
talking
is
about.
Lake, not
Overholster.
Overholser. Yes,
Holster.
yes.
Yeah.
I got a scenic view of that
Mm.
on the way back because a turnpike goes over there. But
Mm-hmm.
that's one of those natural barriers that will have you walking around another
Mm.
2 hours, if not three, just to get around it, you know. Because
Whoa.
if you're looking at read, I'm walking slow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like half the rate of pace that
Wow.
a normal walker is. So time-wise, yeah, my distance probably has about like, I don't know, factor of like 1.5
Mm-hmm.
of time added to what you would expect in distance. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Hmm. Well, walking's been it's really I mean, I've been doing it. I don't go through natural
Mhm.
spaces. One thing I have done was I went on a backpacking trip years ago.
Oh, cool.
But it wasn't
Mhm.
like hitchhike
Mhm.
backpacking. It was
Yeah.
like strategic backpacking. It was
Mhm.
in Europe where we just mostly
Oh, very
walked and
cool.
had
Yeah,
one backpack
yeah,
and that was probably a longer ago intro
mhm,
to walking.
yeah.
But anyway, whenever I mean, since it's been so impactful for me lately, I just wanted to hear about that
It's
journey.
like a natural medicine.
It.
In fact, a lot of
Mm,
medicines give you these like they call them side effects. I don't know why they're
mm,
just not like called co-effects. They're like literally
how
effects,
about that?
right? You know,
Yeah.
my mom's a pharmacist, so we have
Mm,
these discussions about drugs,
hmm
and but no, it's medicine. It's medicine for the soul. It's medicine for the body. It's like a great medicine,
Oh
you
yeah, and then
know.
you're out with the natural
Yeah,
oxygen
yeah.
I've done something. My podcast and business is called
Mhm.
Desire Earth and Wellness, and I put my feet to the ground. I started that
Oh,
in
nice.
2017, and it was one of those things that I'm like, I'm not about to put my feet on the ground, and it was one of those things that's like I heard about it. I'm
Mhm.
like, why would I do that? And I
Yeah.
grew up. I think my parents grew up more country,
Okay.
and then they didn't want me to be as country,
Mhm.
so they're just like always
Now,
putting
what's wrong with
shoes
being
on the
country
ground.
now?
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
like, why can't you just put your feet
Yeah,
on the ground?
yeah.
Well, I grew up, I always used to wear like heels, tube
Hmm.
shoes, all the things.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I feel like there was a time,
Hmm.
2017, maybe 2017. It was just a day and it was raining, and
Hmm.
I'm like, I used to be afraid of earthworms. We're not afraid of them,
Hmm.
but just kind of squeamish
I
about
get
them.
it.
I'm
Yeah.
not so crazy about them.
Hmm.
But anyway, was drawn to put
Hmm.
my foot on the earth, and then it really called to me,
Yeah.
and it just absorbing the.
Yeah.
Do you ever do any earthing?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, you kind of think about the history of our species, however it's evolved.
Mm,
Most of our time and what we're used to and what
mm,
we sort of evolved to,
mm,
and I don't mean just physically, that's evident enough, but
mm,
just even just like psychologically,
mm,
um, has been in touch with nature, in contact
mm,
with nature. I don't think it's any coincidence that people who live near water feel that. People who are
mm,
outside often, I myself have even felt that. You become
mm.
very close. I mean,
One with, I mean, I think we already are
yeah,
one with, but it
yeah.
becomes more evident
I used to have
or
crippling
familiar.
arachnophobia, but you run into so many spider webs, you just you're not scared of them anymore.
It it punks you.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
no, you're not gonna be afraid of me.
there's a weave warp spider that's in my
I do not know
backyard.
my spiders
Oh, it's so beautiful though, and you just appreciate nature for what it is.
for
You
sure.
know, a lot of death out there. Nature is a war zone.
I guess
Um,
when we think, I used to. Someone was saying when you think of like different places,
mhm,
when you think of the zoo,
yeah,
and if you think of like the lions and the
mhm,
tigers and the bear, oh
yeah,
my, and you think of them all beautiful and
mhm,
plush. If you see
yeah,
them in nature, they might be missing a piece of something,
yeah.
because there is a war
I
out
mean, yeah.
there.
Well, regardless of what one's ideology is, there is a competition that, for better or worse, those resources are all
Mm-hmm.
shared organically with us. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
eat things that used to be alive.
Oh
Things that are
yeah.
alive eat
Mm-hmm.
other things that are alive. I saw a gecko the other day just to a moth, And I'm like, man,
Dog eat dog
it is what it
world.
is, right? And so, I try not to get too emotionally attached
Hmm.
with these animals.
Yeah.
I saw a cat the other day that got hit by a car. You just see stuff. You just see death all the time when you're walking, and it gives you a real sense and
Really?
appreciation for life.
Okay, so I haven't gone out in
Yeah.
the way.
I mean, humans have their own contributions, roadkill, all sorts of, you just see, I think a lot of, that's a prejudiced statement, I shouldn't say it, but I blame it on kids. But you'll see a dead animal here and there that you're just thinking, and by animal, I include insects. Like I
Mm-hmm.
saw a snake just sort of brutally murdered. And you just think, that's some kid probably did that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get outside into like the more wildernessy areas where there's
Mm-hmm.
not as much people, and you
Mm-hmm.
just see just all sorts of weird type of death. Just half-eaten thing. I saw, in fact, that trip to Yukon,
Mm-hmm.
God, murder investigation. I don't know. You don't often see like spinal cords that are human size or bigger. I think it might have been cattle, but there was like a bunch of bones in one of my trips. And so,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah, like, what
Whoa.
was I seeing?
What did
Yeah,
exactly?
yeah,
What did you see?
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah, so you get
Mm,
I mean, there's sort of a psychological comfort with death that might
mm,
come through maybe philosophy in some way, but then there's a very like immediate experience with death
mm-hmm,
that just makes you appreciate life more when you're outside a lot.
mm-hmm.
Just it's a dog eat world, truly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
So
How were you as a child? What were you like as a child? Have you always been explorative, or was there like certain things? I'm sure you've grown
mhm.
to just further develop into who you are right
Yeah, yeah, great. Yeah, as a child, it's pretty typical, I think
now.
you'd
Mm-hmm,
say.
mm-hmm,
I was always good at sports,
mm-hmm.
so I was always kind of like
What sports did you play?
so
Or
pretty
were you
much the
involved?
traditional American like trilogy of sports: football, baseball, basketball.
Okay.
I had soccer. I think you would include that when you're younger.
Yeah.
For some reason, soccer dies in America once the kids get older. It's a
Mm-hmm,
true tragedy. It's a great sport,
mm-hmm.
but I was included in that. Um, Also, tennis is a great sport too, but I never played that. I love tennis
I
now.
just recently started playing
Okay,
pickleball.
okay, yeah, I hear it. Man, everyone I talk to now, they're saying pickleball,
Yeah,
pickleball, pickleball.
I feel like that was a infringement on like sales,
Mhm.
paddle sales. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So we had to, hey, we need a new sport so that
yeah,
we can make some profits. So
yeah,
they
for
teach
sure.
the kids pickleball in the schools, and then
Mhm.
they have chicken pickle out there
What's
for.
chicken pickle?
So chick and pickle, it's like
Chicken
a
pickle.
place like you know how Top Golf is.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a place that caters to pickleball
Oh,
in that
okay.
same
That
kind
sounds
of
fun. Yeah.
park and recreational space.
Nice,
But of
nice.
course, they have the courts and other places.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty much the center of my life.
Mm,
You would like to think it was education as a child. I mean,
mm.
that's like what we're supposed to be doing. But no, these sports have their priority,
Oh, for sure.
particularly in
I
the
mean, social life and interactive life. I think engaging in the muscle
yeah,
space. I mean, that's the builder block. That's what
yeah,
keeps us alive in the end. But
yeah.
what were you drawn to as a kid?
I mean, I think just as a kid and who was good at sports, just sports.
Yeah, just generally.
Yeah, and I was not that I enjoyed them for sure, but it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
that I really loved them. It was just
Mm-hmm.
something that was sort of, a kid and you have teams and the social aspect's always wonderful. You get
Mm-hmm.
friends and it gives you
Mm-hmm.
sort of confidence and
Mm-hmm.
affirmation. I
Yeah.
think that ends up being lifelong, especially if you're pretty good at the sport and you can
Mm-hmm.
advance. Um, but I had a very comfortable, loving home.
Yeah.
It's just the typical
You have
suburban.
siblings?
No, so I
No?
was like the center of attention, spoiled
Same.
child,
Mm-hmm.
and my
Well, I don't know about spoiled, but I'm an
yeah,
only child. Same.
yeah.
Grew up that way.
I
Yeah.
mean, so I was adopted by my biological aunt, who I
Mm-hmm.
consider my mother,
Mm-hmm.
and was raised by her and my grandmother.
Oh,
And
sweet.
I mean, you just can't imagine a better home uh, with loving parents, and just
Mm-hmm.
it was great.
Yeah.
I've always say, I'm in that generation where if you had a upper middle class background
Mm-hmm.
with loving parents in the suburbs
Mm-hmm.
in the 80s, you won the
Mm-hmm.
lottery of life. The poetic justice of that is entering middle age and onward. It
Mm-hmm.
seems like our world is going to hell.
It's changing.
So I always say, hey, you know what? I got a good deal for at least for half my life.
You
It's
got a
good,
good
yeah,
deal.
and the better half too, because
That's
you
good.
have troubles as an adult. You can overcome those and come
I
back.
mean, you've got some good tools on the
Yeah,
way.
but childhood trauma, I've seen it with people. I don't think a lot of them can never get over it.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's
So
difficult.
God bless it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm always thankful. It was a good childhood.
You mentioned your grandmother,
Yeah.
sweet lady to
Oh
your
man.
heart, heartbeat.
I
Same.
mean, she's like a co-parent, a mother to
Mm-hmm,
me.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, I had two parents, two mothers, but they
Mm-hmm.
weren't lesbian.
Exactly.
uh, but I mean, you just talked about someone who, to her dying breath, taught lessons that helped me get out of my struggle. She had
Mm-hmm.
Alzheimer's, and that's an extremely debilitating disease.
Mm-hmm.
You see this person is very smart, wonderful. I mean, I think she was head of adolescent psychiatrics at Mercy
Oh
Hospital.
wow, yeah.
Very accomplished woman, coming from the Jim Crow South, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Built this beautiful, amazing family. I love my family so much. I mean, they were literally my foundation. And so when she got dementia, I remember that conversation I had. I was in Texas, in Plano, Texas at dinner. And your relationship changes with the parent that's going through something like that. But I
Mm-hmm.
say she taught me lessons because when it was the case where she was unable to essentially think, communicate,
Yeah.
a prisoner in her own body,
Mm-hmm.
the the, the courage and just the dignity that one has to have to face that sort of confrontation with their mortality.
Mm.
You know, I'm gonna cry. Um, she really helped me because I
Mm.
was in such a terrible time. And even as she was not lucid, I think through the grace of God, she was still able to communicate with me. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. And I think she was right, you know. But
Mm.
yeah.
Okay.
But you know, her and my mother are, and I have a cousin with Kel. They're just angels. All my family, you know, I love them so much, and so you know, I think for me, so much of life is about gratitude, and with that, you can take comfort from my own personal journey, a journey that's not privileged to everyone. And I
Mm.
totally acknowledge that. But for my own personal journey, to my dying breath, I think they'll be like, you know what, man, this is a pretty good life. It's had its challenges. And oh God, that's this period, this black book period I talk about.
Mm.
But even with all of that, you know,
Mm.
my goal in life now is to try to have a satiated life and a life
Mm.
that allows for me to leave thinking, you know what a journey. I'm ready to go on out, but I was able to take care of work that I neglected before. Here we are,
Mm.
and you know, leave it a little bit better than how I kind of trashed and left. So
Mm.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. So when you were speaking about this journey, what type of legacy do you want
Yeah,
to leave?
I think a couple for me are a bit abstract because I don't have children myself, and that's
Okay.
where my notion of a legacy would want to be left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, outside of that, I'm just some random guy who walks around.
Why did I meet
You
you? Okay.
know what I mean?
Thanks for the taco. There we go.
Yeah, they actually were pretty good. You know, one of billions, and then when you start taking the whole extrapolation of all human history, in
Mm-hmm.
that sense, there's no real notion of a legacy in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But however, what I would like to so maybe leave with, and we can call that a legacy. I have this vision that I'd love a cafe that would allow people to come and debate the issues of the day in a very hospitable, unifying environment that would encourage people to not only just read to educate yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but to truly witness the testimony of someone who literally came full circle from like a rock bottom point, the grace of God to come back, and to have like a restaurant like that, that I, not even a restaurant, like a little bar, you know, those little cafes
Oh
like
yeah,
in
I hear you. I'm
1930s
like a
Berlin.
speakers, easy, but more. Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
understand
these
what you're
places like,
saying.
you know, these pretentious people in France would be in like the
Mm,
1920s
mm,
debating and arguing in the cafe,
mm,
somewhere like there.
mm,
Little light jazz music. But the big
mm,
legacy part of it would be that um, there would be sessions where we would walk around and read,
mm.
you know, have like a line of people following around and reading, bringing back that to the culture, and then
Okay.
having debates inside of that cafe. And that's sort of like my dream. And I always said, man, God, if I could just reach that,
Yeah.
That would be a dream come
What
true.
keeps you from
Yeah.
that so far, or taking a step in that direction, or have you?
So I have taken the step, I think. You always need resources, of course, monetarily.
Mm-hmm.
Even more than that, though, I think experience and just a sort of business acumen.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a sort of a small lifestyle business guy. I
Mm-hmm.
had 16 years of doing my agency, developing a few apps here and there. But I'm not really a business sharp person to the
Okay.
extent that it's a natural gift.
Mm-hmm.
So just time taking and learning and sort of vesting myself into wanting to actually learn business or something.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, too, I think having a sense that it's a marathon. It's not something that I need to have like next year.
Mm-hmm.
Grow into it, learn how to run a business first, and that's a completely different space.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you though, there's an ideal that I came across. There's a sort of like cultural nuance in the way we view things that seem very like just um, that almost seem like very like obvious. Like for instance, um, time. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of us in our culture, Western civilization,
Mm-hmm.
for whatever that means, we view the future in front of us, the past behind us.
Okay.
But there's some cultures where they view the past in front of you because you see what's in front of you. And the past is something that's already happened, so you have knowledge of that. It's the
Mm-hmm.
future that's behind you because you don't know what's going to happen. And
Mm.
so you have these sort of nuanced twist on the way people
Mm.
think. It's not wrong. It's
It's just
also like
different.
it's
Different perspective.
what's the
Mm-hmm.
word, anatomy or whatever. It's like these two different things that you can argue against them, but then when you argue for them, they also make sense.
Mm.
And so like there's this ideal about when we talk about legacy,
Mm.
that's the sort of like ending point, and then it goes beyond. But what about a legacy that's like circular? Something that becomes like a daily legacy.
How about
I
that?
think of it like that
I
more.
like that.
In this way, it's not something that leaves you. Well, if I don't reach my legacy and my goal, I'm sort of
Mm.
like,
Right. It's
this is
like daily. It's like microdosing your
yeah,
legacy.
yeah, 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 yeah. And so you kind of get a reaffirmation of that daily,
Mm-hmm. Daily. I like
and it makes it
that
a
a
little bit more
lot.
practical.
Never even
So
considered
yeah.
that. How about that?
And this is one thing with reading, you find out, man, humans are really clever. I see why a lot of people probably have like conspiracy theories about aliens
Mm.
contributing to certain things on our Earth,
Mm.
because without exposure to like great civilizations, great minds,
Mm.
you really, and this is the thing about smart people, so I was like, I'm not that smart, because when you really meet someone intelligent, like
I think you're quite the
well, when you meet someone like I
who
didn't
met
meet
who
him.
you met before.
when you find someone, well, these authors of many of these books are
Mm.
often arrogant fools, but there are
Mm.
some people in
Mm.
history. I always say
Mm.
like Johnny von Neumann. Oh God, brilliant mind. You meet people like that, and you think, okay, yeah, maybe this sort of architectural achievement or this engineering concept,
Mm.
maybe it's not like magic. There are some people who are very clever, you know.
Mm.
I mean, I just came across something the other day that I thought was extremely brilliant. These high frequency traders in the
Mm.
financial markets,
Mm.
they had figured out a way to, without boring with the details, like on a network connection,
Mm.
um, you're sending it and it has to like verify that the actual connection,
Mm.
I guess you might say, is expecting the amount of data. So like let's say if it's 10 bytes or something like
Mm.
that,
Mm.
you only send 9 bytes, it will halt the request.
Okay.
And so these
So it's like
traders,
anticipating a
exactly,
certain.
yeah, it's having
Mm.
two states where they
Mm.
sent multiple session requests,
Mm.
and depending on what the Fed chair was going to say,
Mm.
they would then send another request to invalidate one and validate the other. So they were
Mm.
getting the advantage. I mean, these people probably made billions of dollars on this, if not hundreds of millions, on a trading cheat.
Mm. Mm.
And so you find out people are doing things like that.
Mm.
Kepler, how I mean, in insomnia, he was like able to predict a lot of what the moon was like
Mm.
just from doing some abstract reasoning on math. And so you start thinking about, well, there are people who are, I'm a programmer, so the
Mm.
history of computer science,
Mm.
there's some really smart people out there. And then
Mm.
you take organizations and institutions where smart people collectively join their intelligence together.
Mm. Now you have this
Now
like
you have superhuman
conglomerate. Oh
intelligence.
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so this superhuman intelligence that exists also produces content that you can
Mm-hmm.
consume. And
Mm-hmm.
then it just leaves you in, uh, I think maybe awe might be the word. Some of it's not admiration. Some of these people are bonkers.
Mm.
And there
Mm.
are
You're able to how are you able to discover, or are they just exposing themselves once you start to see them in one area of brilliance,
yeah,
then they also show the other half.
yeah.
I guess everything has its
I
opposite.
mean, reality is such that it's so complicated. Everyone's an idiot in the
Mm-hmm.
sort of truest sense.
Sure.
And when you have a confidence, I think, in your thoughts and abilities to some like achievement in some very narrow sliver of reality,
Mhm.
like I'm an engineer and I've made this Boeing plane
Mhm.
or whatever have
Mhm.
you, that's superhuman to my mind,
Mhm.
but it's still reality. You
Mhm.
don't really know what's going on in the broader, bigger picture.
Okay.
So I think that there's a I think that there is a acknowledgement of that. So you can kind of take people in as they are
Mm.
and their contributions. Like you meet all these brilliant, I say meet, you meet through their
Yeah,
work,
their work.
these brilliant, I hope I can someday meet these type of people. But you meet their brilliant work, but you kind of respect it in the context
Mhm.
of what it is. I mean,
Mhm.
this is one part of the fabric of our human history.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, um, I think knowledge is sort of threaded. You can be
Mm.
really smart in one area,
And
completely
oh,
clownish in another area.
absolutely.
You know.
Oh yeah, I've been there. I used to think prior to going to school, I
Mhm.
used to have this feeling of needing to know a little bit of
Yeah.
everything and felt very it was before grad school. I
Mm.
felt very, I guess in some ways like incompetent
Mhm.
whenever I didn't know about
Sure,
something.
yeah.
And then whenever I went into grad school, I recognized if you're spending so much time here, don't know about that. And it just
Yeah.
became, I think there was a confidence after one, actually going to
Yeah.
grad school, and then two, I think there was a confidence that grew like it becomes obvious. It
Mm.
doesn't feel like an incompetence.
Yeah.
It just feels like only normal,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it really became really simple, and
Mhm.
it helped me to
Mhm.
appreciate myself in a
Yeah.
different way and also appreciate others' expertise.
Yeah. That's a good perspective, you know. And it comes some fields, you know, especially like in computer science or programming, you have people who are like, you know, Turing Award winners, field medalists. I mean, these are people who are like,
Mm,
you know, brilliant, like truly gifted geniuses.
mm.
So there's always a sort of like, you can translate into like an imposter syndrome or something.
That
Uh,
was exactly what I was
yeah,
feeling.
that might be more of a personal thing. For
Mhm.
me, I always kind of looked at it as a sort of inspiration, where it's like, oh, you know, just do your job. If you're an imposter, they'll fire you. If you're not, and by fire, you might lose clients, whatever have you, but just do your job. But outside of that, there's this, hey, that's, you know, they have neurons too. You know, it's the same
Mm,
neurons.
yeah.
They might put more studying. Some people are truly gifted,
Sure.
but
Absolutely.
these are human minds too. And
Mhm.
although you'll never like pour yourself into it, you could learn bits and pieces of what they know and sort of get that a little appreciation. So I
Mhm.
always kind of look at it as like,
And there's a relativity. If you, it depends on what you are comparing it to. That's really what it comes down to.
exactly.
Like if you are comparing, and it's not to compare, but
Mm,
if we're you are my genius
mhm.
here right
Yeah.
now. You're the
Oh no,
expert in your world, right?
no,
Especially, and then if you go to another
no.
person, the people that you've read and
Sure.
maybe admired,
Yeah.
or that you're
Yeah.
calling genius,
Yeah.
then they would blow my socks out. Like, what in the world?
And who
But that's all.
knows? Maybe some species from Andromeda will be here like in 30 years and make us all look like ants, you know? So who knows?
Maybe.
I just try to say, hey, you know what? The world's more enjoyable when you know more about it.
Yeah.
Just from a just enjoy,
Mm,
what am I reading now? Oh, I'll tell you a book that was really good. I just recently finished Marx's Capital. You know, we're in a capitalist society, so they sort of, you know, defame Marx as some big communist. Granted,
mm,
he wasn't Stalin. He wasn't Mao.
mm,
He was an intellectual, and he wrote a seminal work on capital. And I think living in a capitalist society, reading Capital, even as a business-minded person, it
mm,
really was just super insightful to like how
mm,
our society works, you know.
mm.
Um, and I would consider him sort of a person who was a very genius, sort of prophetic person, especially with this age of business that we're in now.
Uh, okay, so you mentioned reading and walking.
Mhm.
So when I met you, you did have a physical book.
Yeah.
Do you listen to audiobooks or do you need
I
the
need the
text?
text, yeah, because audiobooks, my mind will start wandering. Where the same will happen with a book, where you'll kind of get excited about an ideal, but with
Mm-hmm,
the book, you can go back easily and reread it.
mm-hmm,
With the audio, you gotta start fumbling with your phone or whatever device. Also, too, I don't think it really trains the same like muscle.
mm-hmm,
Um, I think reading helps with your attention
mm-hmm.
focus, the ability to focus a
Hmm.
lot longer. I don't know if audiobooks do that. I have no research.
I haven't done research,
Yeah,
but I know that I am an audio
yeah,
learner and I do read a
yeah.
lot of books via audio. So you keep a backpack with you.
Yeah, yeah. A smelly. I need to wash it. It's so
You
gross now, but yeah.
keep a
Mhm,
backpack with you. You
yeah.
have your book in
Hmm.
there, or do you keep one? Do you read a book and keep going, or do
Yeah.
you?
So I do a little rotation. Try to
Mm,
do 3 a month, and
mm,
I'll rotate throughout them. It keeps every book interesting.
ooh, talk.
Um, you get bored with some of them. Oh man,
I
some of
was
these.
gonna ask
Yeah,
about that, but
yeah,
keep going.
yeah. I try to, you start what you finish type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of these books, though, I stay away from these books that. So there's like a class of like self-congratulatory people who have
Mm,
great careers. Maybe it's nepotism, maybe it's earned.
mm,
But you go to Barnes and Noble and you'll just see all of these like authors writing about. You'll see them like on news channels
mm,
talking their punditry talk, or you
mm.
might see them on some sort of like um, I don't know. A lot of them come from the media space or the political space,
Okay.
and then they'll just have like a book like um, "Live Your Best Life Now" or something like that.
Mm,
I really try to stay away from books like that.
okay.
I made the mistake trying to learn more about accounting. There was a book that was hidden, or it was veiled as an accounting book, but what it really was some like Neotopa, like political, uh, biased messaging
Oh
about a bunch of
wow,
social
that's not
issues
okay.
that I would really love to engage in and to think about.
Mm,
But when you're trying to learn accounting, you don't want like uh, you don't want that. And so you'll
right.
find that a lot with some of these books. History books are also very controversial because
Who
history is
wrote
just
it?
who wrote it, who taught them how to even frame historical like
Okay.
structure, because it's the concept of history, right? Because
Mm,
there's like events that happen in time, space time. I walked through here and all these things happened, but that's not
mm-hmm,
history. That's
mm-hmm,
like a series of events that took place.
mm-hmm,
I can tell you a story about it, and that might become more in the lane of history.
mm,
So you're really trusting people to like sort of shape your reality, not just from an information perspective, but even from like a values perspective,
mm-hmm.
what you
Yeah,
prioritize and view.
absolutely.
A lot of geopolitical issues that are happening today are also, um, you might say, partnered with an information war.
Mm-hmm.
And I do say war because these are active belligerents trying to inform people on different
Okay.
things
Mm-hmm.
through history and books.
Mm.
So you gotta be really careful when you read stuff. And I just kind of all think of it like stories.
Okay.
I don't really
Okay.
say, I didn't know Joseph Stalin. I knew he killed a lot of people.
Mm.
But, uh, a lot of people kill a lot of people who are heads of governments. What
Okay.
am I supposed to feel about them? I don't
Mm-hmm.
have any thought. I just read the book and I
Mm-hmm.
take the story.
Got
And
it.
then you read another one about the guy or any topic by another person. You get a different perspective.
Okay.
Um, well, I'll tell you too, there's like an information wall in every society. But with like English, I was wanting to learn more about the Sudan War.
Mm.
Good luck finding a Sudanese to tell you about it. It's a bunch of like English speaking
Mm, yeah.
American,
Yeah.
it's like really,
Definitely.
you know what I mean?
That's
Ah,
only your perspective, and you. Do you travel?
so I'm going to be in DC for the whole week
I know
next
you
week.
mentioned
Yeah, the
that.
whole month actually. So I'm going to start
Well,
traveling
I
more.
just caught you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I'm out. I'm even thinking about moving out to the East Coast. I don't know.
Well, I will visit you when you
Well,
go.
I would appreciate it.
Mm,
Yeah, because I will have no friends out there, so it
hmm.
would be good. I love Oklahoma. I think it's great.
Have you been here your whole life?
Yeah, I have, and I think that's one of the things. Like, as I get older,
Mm,
you know what, man? You know what? You might need to uh, sort of spread your wings. I think I'd do very well in another city.
mm,
Um, and I like to be a private person, right? And
mm.
I like to just walk around and sort of mind my own business,
Yeah.
sit in the restaurant, go in the back, whatnot. The thing about that is that I feel like I don't feel like I would attract as much attention in just walking around reading
Mm.
um, in like a larger
Oh
city,
yeah, cities. But
Yeah.
so right now you look like a sore thumb and
I
like
probably look crazy walking around with a book in my
no.
hand, but
Where's your phone? You need your phone out.
man, I'll tell you one thing: programming. You get into like the backgrounds of these companies and the apps.
Mm,
I try to, man. My phone's always in my pocket on this. I hate that stupid thing. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not a luddite, but
Mm.
I'm not very pro technology. Oddly enough, I know that sounds
That is
ironic.
very
Yeah,
contrary.
I mean, heck, I would imagine the executives at most of these tech companies don't let their children
Mm,
consume the tech like they do the markets that they try to push
mhm,
it on.
mhm,
So
mhm.
what's good for the goose
Don't
type
eat
of
your
thing.
right.
Yeah. So
Don't eat your product.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. So what bores you?
Um, in a clear state of mind, I think very closed-minded people, people who very see the world very egocentric, limited way,
Hmm.
that aren't able to empathize or appreciate the complexities of the world. That's
Hmm.
very boring, I think,
Hmm.
because it's like, what are you doing? What are we doing?
Hmm.
But no, that's again, if you, as long as you have a book on your hand, you just
Hmm.
look up in the sky.
I don't ever feel bored. So that you said that, it's like
Yeah.
I never feel bored. Now I do use my tech. I
Hmm.
do scroll,
Yeah.
but even before that,
Hmm.
I used to be quote unquote afraid of being
Hmm.
bored. So
Hmm.
I did keep a book, especially before the
Yeah.
technology was so,
Yeah.
more prevalent. But yeah, when you said that, like,
Hmm.
how can you be if you
Yeah.
have a book
I
if
mean, there's
you
always some, psychological, spiritual house cleaning that you can do in your,
don't?
downtime.
Mm-hmm.
I've come to the point now where I think just look up at the sky. There's something going on. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
I
What type
love
of plane is that? What type of, I don't know, chemistry is involved in this substance? Whatever have you?
that.
It's
That's so cool.
yeah. So, and someone told me something. I don't know where I heard it from, but they were like, if you don't like something, if something bores you, just learn more about it because you'll see it from different
Oh,
angles.
that's how I think
You
about
know?
anything. Even if it's not boring,
Mhm,
but like definitely if you don't
mhm,
like something,
mhm,
you. I even think songs that you like,
mhm,
things that you dislike,
mhm.
there's probably a message in that
Yeah.
because why are you so passionate? It
Mhm.
must be touching some type of part of you
Yeah.
that resonates
Yeah.
to even, you can't hate something that you don't kind of love
For sure.
almost
Yeah.
because
For
it's like,
sure.
what is it? What's got you so passionate?
Yeah.
What's got you so worked up? And on the other side, everything has the law of
Mhm,
polarity.
mhm.
So if you can love something,
Mhm.
you can hate it.
Sure.
Or if
Yeah.
something is very, very dark, something can be very, very light on the other side.
Yeah.
Something
That makes sense.
kind,
Yeah.
something can be
Yeah.
harsh on the other side
Yeah.
too.
We have a fascinating world. I think that God, there's so much to explore. And one of the things I think about having this sort of curiosity and interest is
Mm.
that it has like a positive feedback loop where it's like,
Mm.
oh, well, my mental space was only this big this year, but in 3 years maybe it can extend. And now
Mm.
there's all this other stuff that oh, I didn't even think about this the other
Mm-hmm.
day, but this brings
Mm-hmm.
me great joy now. There's like an infinite space of joy that's out there,
Yeah.
but you can only accomplish reaching it by expanding your mind.
Yeah.
So closed-mindedness I find to be extremely not only just boring, but it can be if you're too open-minded. This was something that plagued me too. I used to be very like progressive egalitarian. I don't mean politically
Mm.
progressive,
Mm.
although I do share some of the politics. But as far as just, you know what, I don't care where you're coming from.
Mm.
I'm gonna keep it in mind and just deal with any situation.
What did you learn from
Don't.
that?
That there's this ideology that I think, especially as a black person, I'm very sensitive to the ideal of
Mm.
egalitarianism.
Mm.
It's a very important thing, right? To be treated equal, to treat others equal.
Mm.
I think that has more validity civilly, though.
Mm.
Socially, I don't think that that's the case. I think you should be very careful about who you deal with
Mm.
and allow in your life and what you're open to
Mm.
experience-wise.
Mm.
You need to be very prejudiced on that.
Mm.
And so I had when I was a bit more naive, I had this sort of conflation of those ideals.
Mm.
Well, I don't want to be an asshole. Or I don't want to be the pretentious jerk.
Mm.
But you know what? I don't mind now. I'm a
If
nice guy. But there's certain things that that's the lesson. No,
don't let,
no,
yeah,
no,
boundaries.
no, no. Boundaries, yes.
Hmm.
And boundaries from a perspective that is not like aligned with a lot of the trite narratives that you often hear with people who have boundary issues. Like, oh, I
Mm.
can't stop saying yes, and I need to learn to say no.
Mm.
It's not so much
People
that were
pleasing.
my boundaries. It was more like just like being too open to experience as boundaries.
Mm.
You know, uh,
Because you didn't have, was there not a framework yet? You were just growing into discovering, like you had to learn
I
why
think there
you
might have
didn't.
just been I think just what you might say there was just a real sort of like base personality in myself to
Mm.
just be open to explore things.
Mm-hmm.
It's very helpful when you're trying to explore interesting topics, and these is why I read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much helpful when you're trying to explore uh, the various lanes of life
Okay.
and social dynamics, or even
Mm,
I would even say even ideologically, you can even find yourself going certain things that you should probably be more have discretion as far as just
yes, yes,
blindly running into something.
yes.
And so I would probably say that I know I'm kind of being
Kind of vague, but I hear what you're saying.
yeah
Uh-oh.
cryptic. Yeah, I'm trying not to be too cryptic, but
Yeah,
I want to.
but I think I hear the message. Like I think I have a gift, but not like over mystically. But like I hear messages even when they're not said.
Okay.
Like just so I think I got the
Yeah.
context. Basically, if you have a child out here, you want to give them some path, some type of parameter,
Yeah.
and some type of value, not to overexpose yourself
Yeah.
because you can absorb too.
Yeah.
So is that kind of what you're
Yeah.
saying?
I
You're
think.
absorbing things that may put you in the wrong
Yeah.
spaces in a
Yeah.
way.
And I think it's just without a more critical view of that,
Hmm.
that can become part of a identity of a sort of self ideology. Well, I'm an open minded person, so that
Mm.
means I just tolerate
Tolerate is big
all
for me.
sorts of
Buffoon.
buffoonery. Yeah. 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 Right. Um, and so, but
Do you know it before could you teach that prior to, or would you have had to just learn
boy,
it?
you
Like,
could teach it. I don't know if it's well received, just how human minds work, right? You don't know what
mm,
you don't know.
right.
And even worse, you don't know, if you don't know about an unknown, you don't even know what you don't know. And so you end up in
That's
the,
good.
well,
That was almost how much we could have checked, but it still actually made sense because
yeah.
I understand that. I believe I had a theory. I write a lot, just kind of write and I don't know, scribe through and
Mm,
feel different things. One time I was writing and I got a message with it was about mm, the shield and the
mm.
prison.
Okay.
So the thought was like sometimes we're protecting
Mm,
something, but that protect the thing that we are that we become as a protector is
mm,
like a shield. We're keeping things from, let's say for instance, children
mm.
or you know our family. We're
Yeah.
keeping things from them. We're trying to protect them. So within that shield, if
Mm,
we're the shield, we have debris that
mm,
we have to be intentional about. Hey, I got to take this out,
mm,
otherwise our shield will be so heavy.
mm,
The other part of that is the prison
mm,
because the the people who we're trying to protect or even ourselves that we're trying to protect, if we don't eventually give them insight, they'll
mm.
start to feel that they're in a prison
Yeah.
and start working against you
Sure.
because they don't even know what you're protecting them from.
Yeah.
It just becomes like, I don't know, you just don't ever let me go anywhere, you don't let
Yeah.
me do anything, or you always have these theories,
Mm,
but there's a feeling inside each
yeah.
person that wants to go explore on their own. So
Yeah.
now it's important for the shield
Mm,
to either educate who they are shielding
yeah.
so that they can let them know, like, listen, this is what is out there. Well, that very thing that you're protecting from, it might be there fight in life to discover.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, hey, you're protecting me from bow and arrows in this sense,
Yeah.
but I want to go explore this.
Yeah.
I actually want to be a warrior.
Yeah.
I want to be a shield as well.
Yeah.
But then, yeah. Anyway, it can just go on and on. But
No,
basically, you hear what I'm
I
saying.
totally
Huh?
appreciate the analogy. What comes to mind is that in the bow and arrow thing, a punch in the face is something that's violent and it hurts,
Mm-hmm.
but you go about your day.
Hmm.
An arrow might give you an infection that might end up debilitating you for years. You might
Mm-hmm.
lose an amputation.
Hmm.
And so I think when you have that unknown sort of like naivete,
Mm-hmm.
you're not realizing, okay, well, I don't know anything about punches. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
anything about arrows. I can do a punch. Okay, I felt punch. I don't really like that, but
Mm-hmm.
I got another day going ahead. Uh, you know, this is sort of naiveness that punches hurt, but what else is out there?
Mm-hmm.
Arrows, well, they can leave you an
And
indefinite
it just
wound. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Oh my God, an arrow. And so now it's like, well, I know arrows are out here now.
Mm-hmm.
What else is out here? I'm vigilant now. I
So
think,
now you start
yeah.
exploring, and it could not be healthy.
Well,
Like
yeah,
definitely.
I think you become less exploratory and more
So,
gatekeeping.
mm,
Do you qualify for this set of attributes or characteristics as a either person or a situation in life? If not, gate closed.
That's what you're saying you've become.
Yes,
Good.
because gate
Okay.
used to always be open. And gate open was
Mm,
a beautiful thing. I was a
mm,
person that could hang out with some beatniks in one area, hang
mm,
out with some business people in another area,
mm,
hang out with all these different types.
mm,
But all different cultures are not equal. And this is
mm,
where I bring it back to that sort of egalitarian civil rights tradition.
mm,
In a civil sense, it makes a lot of sense. All
mm,
cultures are created equal under the law and to some social, adhesion.
mm,
When you start getting into like, I'll say this too, the childhood, when you come from a very sheltered, naive childhood that was just
Did
abundant
you?
with, very much,
Okay.
the abundance of love and all that stuff.
Mm.
Uh, when you get into the world, you recognize there's some people who are so
Oh man,
like,
you're a salt
truly
of their
broken.
bread.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just probably upbringing of manipulation, and that's just sort of their default. Truly broken. And in some cases, right, maybe even spiritual issues.
Mhm.
And so this type of force, I've learned you do not want to interact with.
Mm,
It's almost like a cancer. And so who wants cancer?
mm,
So one good way is that trying to separate intelligence and knowledge
mm,
from like wisdom, something that's like a trite sort of like it's not that's not a big revelation.
mm,
But when you say teaching people that, boy, there's many teachers. Experience is one. You'd
mm.
rather it not be, but it is
Right.
one, and it's taught me.
Mm,
Um, but moving on from that, the smarter kids will get it. The wiser kids will get it.
mm.
The not so wise people will not. And you just pray to God that you make it through.
There's
So
consequences
yeah,
to them.
for sure. Yeah.
Wow. Ooh, that was good. I felt like a mental massage, but also an empathic
Mhm.
massage as you shared that with
Yeah.
me. That was really good.
Yeah.
Hmm. Wow. So, what is on the horizon for you?
Yeah, so really just pouring myself, trying to learn the machine learning stuff. Oh, it's so cool. Like, so I was never really a big math person just because
Mm,
the culture doesn't really, we just don't have a mathematical culture in our society,
mm,
right? You do get on a math score, you're a math Olympiad, no one cares, but you're
mm.
an athlete, people are praising you,
Wow.
I
Mhm,
mean, it's
mhm,
like,
mhm,
so I've found my inner nerd again. And on the horizon is I really want to become much better in understanding the sort of predictive modeling of mathematics.
mm,
Very powerful. I'm at the beginner level, so I don't know much.
mm,
But even today, I went through probability theory, and you're just like, wow, this is
mm,
really cool.
mm,
So that's certainly, and that's going to help me, vocationally and even just like I said, like personally, this stuff becomes like a form of entertainment at some point.
mm.
Also, too, maybe yeah, looking on the horizon of I gotta get a car. So I have a car, but I'm gonna get another car. I gotta get another car again.
Mm.
I'm not a big fan of driving, but that's one of the things.
Oh my
But no,
gosh, you are so interesting.
I
This is just amazing.
would
Go
probably
ahead.
say on the horizon though, the horizon, right? It's that linear view. It's more of like a
Hmm,
circular thing for me. I'm not sure what's on the
I like it.
horizon. I know tonight I'm gonna read some stuff on
Hmm.
like polling and some probability code on my little app. Oh no, I'm glad you asked that question actually. There is something. So through my experience, wanting to pay back my debt to society. I do
Mm,
feel a debt. I think when you sort of lose yourself in a period that and you're uncharacteristically not yourself. I would say this is like a simulacra of who I was, right?
ooh,
And so when
I
you
can't wait
come
to look up
back
all these words.
to
Okay.
yourself, for me, it was like, okay, how do I help people who I met along the way, not any individual per se, but
Indirectly.
just the class of people who are
Mm,
involved with these struggles,
mm,
and how can you contribute back more than you have taken?
mm,
Say what you want as far as how evil the geopolitics were, but one of the things that the some admiral with the British Empire he would always say, um, even though they did steal everyone's resources, his statement was something about the British Empire. We pay our own way. It was sort of an
mm,
ideal that he had had.
mm,
Again, the historical debate on that. I would probably be on the critical side, but the value from the concept was taken.
mm,
And I feel like that there is something about a sort of like cost payment in life that you have
mm.
that behind the scenes, just trying to put more good
Like
out
kind of
there.
like law of exchange.
Yeah, and if you buy into that ideology, when you've done things that have been uh, more counterproductive, more harmful,
Mm,
you feel a very like like pressure and a burden
Mm,
internally. Man, you
mm,
got to make up for this.
mm,
You've wasted a lot of time.
mm.
How dare you disrespect time
Is
like that?
so is there a layer? Is that a layer part of you that
Oh,
you feel
it's
that you
for sure. I mean, this
mm,
is one of those things where I think, you talk to people who've been through experience in the most extreme, and I disclaim, not comparing myself with these individuals.
mm,
It's an example to illustrate. And in the most extreme, someone goes off to a theater of war, they
mm,
come back a fundamentally transformed person.
mm,
In my own personal way,
mm,
um, I had a sort of, again, I disclaim, people are so sensitive on these things.
mm,
I'm not a soldier,
mm.
but through the battlefields of life.
Well, okay.
um, that does leave a profound effect on you. And for me, it's motivated me to develop this app to help nonprofits fundraise
Mm,
causes that are really important and close to my heart.
mm,
One of those also being Alzheimer's as well.
mm,
But I think it's a pretty innovative app. I've got some organizations excited about it. So what's on the horizon is actually, every night I'm out there coding. I've been working on this thing for the better part of a year. It's a cool project. I've learned a lot. I'm going to have an iOS and Android version. There's a web version. So it's really
mm.
expanded my skills as far as like programming. But it's
Wow.
something that I hope to introduce to the city that will help, especially in these times of austerity. We're
Mm,
cutting things like mental health support, drug
mhm,
addiction support, homelessness is just an epidemic in the
mhm,
country. Citizens have found that their governments and their institutions are mostly corrupt or
mm,
just outright incompetent, and so or just greedy, and you have a lot of the bureaucracy that's staff, rank and file, who are amazing,
mm,
amazing people.
mm,
A lot of my family work in the government
mm,
and are some of the most competent, excellent people you will ever meet.
mm,
But if you also have a situation where you need, I don't know, like mental health services, well,
mm,
that's cut. So the app is supposed to help communities
mm,
empower themselves as citizens. A lot of times the rhetoric on citizenry is about like things like yesterday's election.
mm,
Maybe those are real, maybe not. But the ideal that you yourself can utilize the tools and technology
mm,
and empower each other as a community to target causes that need and to fundraise for them. That's sort of where legacy wise, I would say that's it. If this app could just grow and turn into something, my dream of mine would be able to wake up and see any issue that I had challenged with or issues that are proximal to my life to say, hey, $8 million went through transactions here into the hands of legitimate organizations to help
mm,
actual tangible causes. That's one
mm.
of the part of the apps.
Ooh,
So,
I bet I could utilize your app.
well, I would
Like,
be remiss if I didn't actually promote it
I
here.
would love, absolutely, I
Well,
would love to be able
can
to use that.
can
My
I?
Earth and Wellness, it's completely telehealth. So my practice is completely well. I would in some situations I would have I could rent an office, but most of it is telehealth, so you can access it anywhere.
Yeah, I got a little history in telehealth. My first client, actually, at a college when I started my business,
Yeah.
was
What's your
a.
business name? Do you
So
remember?
this was it was called Qantas back then.
Okay.
This was the one I did for 16 years. So
Okay.
like
Okay. Okay.
literally, I don't even know if I could. So I could drink by then. I was like 22, finishing up at OU, and then
Hmm.
I didn't know what I was going to do, so I just started this like web design business.
Wow.
It was mostly branding, so I didn't know how to
Okay.
design websites.
Hmm.
I read a book, David Ogilvy on advertising, big ad guy from New
Mm.
York,
Hmm.
super sharp guy, and I was like, man, that's a cool business, man. Just like kind of telling people about their brand and trying to align it with what people think.
Wow.
So there was a company at Integris, rest in peace. The physician has passed since. Cool guy. We became friends. But yeah, he was launching up a clinic, and one of the things that they did was telehealth. And so,
Mm.
yeah, so I have anyway, you saying that kind of
Yes.
brings back those memories. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely have. I don't know how it would work,
Mhm.
but if I could tap into that and
Yeah.
utilize that to help more clients,
Yeah.
I would love to do
Okay.
that.
Well, I can tell you the concept and you can kind of see what you think. Um, so the concept is a marriage of TikTok, GoFundMe, and trivia. And
Okay.
so the ideal is that if you have a person who is a donor, a prospective donor, one of the things you can do is try to get them into an emotional state to connect with the actual cause or issue at hand. If you do so, if you do so in sort of an abstract way,
Mm-hmm.
like the cause or the topic, it's really hard to connect with that emotionally. Like support child hunger. Well,
Mm-hmm.
of course, who wouldn't support that?
Mm-hmm.
But what does that mean? What kid? What
Mm.
what
Are
what I
you
mean?
saying a donor like as if like someone's perished? Is
Like
that
a donor, like
like
a
a
fund,
body?
like a person who's wanting to contribute funds to it. To
Oh,
yeah.
I almost thought that you were saying you've seen 7 pounds before with
No.
Will Smith. Okay. I almost thought you were saying that if someone's wanting to donate like their body parts, that they can
Oh
connect
no,
with the
no,
type
no,
of
no.
person.
Yeah.
You anyway,
That might be a good
excuse me,
idea,
but
but
I
I
didn't
know nothing
but
about that. No, this
mm,
deals with donor in the sense of fundraising with
fundraising.
nonprofits. Yeah,
Okay, excuse
so a
me.
nonprofit can make essentially a short video, like a TikTok
Mm,
video,
mm,
that is not so much on the abstract cause,
mm,
like child hunger or veteran services or whatever have you,
mm,
but an actual story of a tangible human, a real event, so
mm,
that people can see, okay, this is actually going to help someone real.
mm,
But it also has a trivia aspect to educate the user on a qualitative manner rather than quantitative. You
mm,
start throwing out numbers to people, which a lot of nonprofits will do,
mm,
some statistic about this and that, and it
mm,
puts people in an analytical mind
mm,
where they lose that emotive mind. So we want to keep you in an emotional mind. So we hit you with the story,
mm,
audio visual,
mm,
then we get you with the education, the
mm,
trivia, and
mm,
it's a competitive game. So each round in the trivia match, there's
mm,
generally, I think, going to be 3 or 5 rounds.
mm.
You compete with other donors who
Okay.
want to win the prize, which the nonprofit can offer. So let's say the prize might be, hey, Sony don't, I have no relationship with Sony.
Okay.
This is just an
Mm.
example.
Yeah.
Not even sure why. I think
That came
I
to
just
you.
saw a video on like the economic the Japanese in the tech industry. So Sony
Mm.
came to mind.
Okay.
Let's say that we I don't even know if PlayStations are still a thing.
Mm.
I'm not a gamer, but let's just say that there's like, hey, we have 100 PlayStations. The nonprofit, we're going to donate it to you. The nonprofit can say, hey, if you want to win a PlayStation,
Mm.
come play this match. And the players go through each round,
Mm.
and they get eliminated if they don't answer the question correctly
Mm.
or in time to beat the other players, because we only take the quickest correct top half.
Okay.
And so you just eliminate them round by round. For the last round, the first person who answers gets the prize. Now, after the elimination or the victory,
Mm.
you get prompted with a donation to support the cause. So this
Okay.
way, the nonprofit can raise money. The users can kind of have a competitive gamification of it
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
support a cause that they're concerned about.
Okay.
And the community abroad can take more empowerment on directing funds to things that they actually need, as opposed to waiting for some election or some government agent or
Oh.
some business to do these things that need to be done.
Okay.
A lot of need. I'll tell you this too. In that dark period, I was exposed to a world that exists through movies and televisions or through some crazy story of someone you know or someone you know. But
Mhm.
when you're in it, you just see the real hurt. And I always go back to when I was in college or high school. I was a star athlete and I was always on the field.
Mm.
Defense, offense, it doesn't matter. But I was always someone I thought, and maybe they would feel different, but I always try to be supportive of everyone on the team. As just
The
these are
role
guys
that
they
you're talking.
practiced every
Mhm.
day. They were teammates in the purest sense.
Mhm.
But then when I got to college, I was always on the bench myself. And
Mm.
my view changed about that as far as like, oh wow, this is what it's like to just be sitting on the bench all day. I
Mm.
did a little special teams work here and there,
Mhm.
involved in an NCAA record. I didn't.
Okay.
I got
Flag.
an illegal black in the block in the back that should have been called.
Mm.
Thankfully, it wasn't. But you get this sense about, oh, okay, I'm still a football player, but
Mhm.
now I'm seeing this very differently. I think socioeconomics is the same way. When you grow up very comfortable, you don't have an ideal about some of the troubles that are out there.
Mm.
But then when you find and I wouldn't advise it to anybody, when you sort of like, you know, find yourself in this environment,
Mm.
you start seeing like, boy, there's a lot of donuts in the society.
Mm.
You see someone on the street that's homeless, but start talking with these people.
Mm.
It's not a bunch of like trifling, sort of disengaged people.
Mhm.
One guy I talked to, he was an attorney. Another person, you see your veterans here and there.
Mhm.
A lot of people that just get priced out of their apartments.
Mm.
And so it gives you this sense of the human spirit
Humanity. Yeah.
and the endless bounds of joy that one can have. There's also endless bounds of suffering.
Polarity.
And
Mm.
it does something that I think that has really transformed me. So yeah, this app is trying to be an attempt
Mhm.
to just pay my personal debt.
Mhm.
Politically, one might say society might owe us something. I mean, a lot of the
Mhm.
money and resources are being cut. But as far as like a personal, spiritual, social debt,
Mhm.
I think, you know what, man, you had such an ugly period. Let's put some good back in there. Now that you're back to being yourself,
Mm.
And yeah, hopefully the ideal is that it'll work, and that
Yeah.
my legacy will be number
Yeah.
one in the App Store. So,
Beautiful. Beautiful. I wanted to speak a little bit towards your space of being, I guess, private.
mhm,
Like you say, you like to be kind of
yeah,
tucked away a
yeah.
bit. Um, when you were in the 16-year
Mhm.
period, were you private at the time?
No, I was a very highly functioning person, so I was out there. I had a
Mm-hmm.
business to grow, and
Mm-hmm.
I like social. I'm an introvert, but I do like the social dynamic.
Socializing.
I like
Mm-hmm.
talking with people. I like having
Yeah.
friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think though that that chapter in life, it completely changed that though. In fact, um, I will say this: if you were to find me then, you couldn't imagine
Yeah.
me being that.
Really.
Um, you meet people who are in that world,
Mm-hmm.
truly troubled, some dark soul.
Mm-hmm.
God bless them. But I've become more private because people from that type of mentality, that's just they don't want to build, they don't want to protect, they don't want to advance anything.
Mm-hmm.
They want to stay in their state of destruction and despair
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. I think that I've become very wary of that because
What are you saying?
I've become very wary of that
Mm.
because, we live in a information age now where anything you've ever done is just literally anyone's prerogative to
Mm.
just spread,
Yeah.
even things you haven't done.
Mm-hmm.
And that has made me very cautious with dealing with people
Mm.
because, there is unfortunately
Yeah.
a dark period. It's easy to disassociate from because
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't me,
Mm-hmm.
although physically it was.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I've taken as really reflective of any sort of personal like identity or self. Again, association. Like I say, it's very easy to disassociate with it. It's almost like
Yeah.
it was a bad dream.
Mm.
But this dream had interlocutors and other people who
Mm.
are still in their nightmare,
Mm.
and they just want to destroy. So as it relates to me and my own life,
Mm.
I would always say that I try to stay fairly private because I can always meet people and expose myself in that way.
Mm.
But then as it relates to just broader um, awareness of my person,
Mm.
I just like to stay private.
Yeah.
I think in our age today, that's probably a wise choice,
How
for
about
most
that?
all
Is the
people.
truth?
Yeah. So
Um. Well, I really appreciate it. What made you say yes to this interview? I know
well,
we tried it before
yeah,
too. So with your thoughts and what you
mm,
know and your
yeah,
experience, all of that you just spoke about,
yeah,
to say yes to this interview is
yeah.
like really rare.
It is extremely rare.
I'm so thank
Yeah.
you.
No,
And
thank
how
you.
we met is so rare too.
Yeah.
So what made you say yes and commit to
I
it?
mean, I don't know. I was a small business guy, so I just try to be supportive. I
Yeah,
think that you're doing this podcast is amazing and great.
yeah.
Um, as much as it probably sounds like I like to hear myself talk, it was just truly just to be supportive
Oh,
of
it's
you,
so meaningful.
In fact, next to my number one app on the App Store, we're going to see your podcast number one in the podcast store. So that I'm
What?
calling it now. I'm calling it
Thank
now. So
you.
yeah,
I
but
receive
yeah,
it. I receive
yeah,
that.
so yeah,
Most
mm,
excellently. And thank you.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, thank you. So
We've done an hour. How do you feel?
I feel great. Yeah, it comes naturally. Like I said, I like
Yeah,
talking. So,
I mean,
yeah.
you are excellent. I know you say you don't do video games. What do you do as far as like recreation? I know walking is big for you.
Yeah,
So tell
walking
me.
big. It sounds crazy, and I would have never. I would have if I would have heard myself in high school,
Mm,
I'd be like, "Who is that guy?"
really?
Imposter syndrome. I would say he's an imposter. But no, the
Mm,
actual reading has become my entertainment now.
mm.
I mean, it's not too different from watching a movie.
No, I
You know what I
hear
mean?
you.
It's just that it's you just visualize it in your head
Uh-huh.
as opposed to seeing it on the
I think that's
screen.
amazing with the imagery. I used to read a book and then
Mm.
go watch the movie. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that is not who I thought that was gonna
Right.
be.
Yeah.
And this is, and it just gives you the freedom of whatever your idea of great
Yeah.
is. There's great. If you think sorrow and you read the word sorrow,
Mm.
wherever you've gone to
Mm.
sorrow versus it being a fixated space. I
Yeah.
love the idea. I mean, I love reading and I listen in audiobooks too, but
Yeah.
I did come from a space
Mm.
originally reading not a lot of books. I think I wasn't even drawn to reading a lot until I was maybe about ninth grade,
Mhm.
and I was listening to my favorite, reading the little Eric Jerome Dickey books.
Okay.
It's kind of romance,
Yeah.
that type of
Yeah.
experience. And I was like, oh shoot, they talk about some stuff in here,
Yeah.
like, and did he, and did they,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what drew me in.
Yeah.
And then after that, I just started to see there was an exploration of a whole world,
Yeah.
just really advances you.
And reading's an economical deal, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the author takes decades, some cases a lifetime to produce the work. You
Mm-hmm.
get to consume it just like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it takes a month, maybe it takes a week, maybe a day, but you are like downloading stuff from people who have contributed their whole lives
Wow.
and having the
I've never thought
benefit. You know what I mean? Like we're in the 20th century now. 21st? What are we?
21st.
20? Wow. Even if we were in the 20th,
Yeah, yeah.
you still have like thousands of years of like
I never
ideals. You know
thought
what I
about
mean?
that.
And it's kind of like how I consume media now. I won't watch anything after the year 2000. My personal belief is that media went to trash. And you listen to
Mm,
like music from like the 1700s,
mm,
1800s, 1980s. You watch movies from the 1950s and 60s. It just seemed like they were so much better, and there's like an
mm,
endless amount of them. So like
mm,
I think information is kind of the same way when you're benefited by being at the like present with all that content to consume from
mm,
ancient civilizations all the way to like what was going on last week. It's
mm,
like it's just like an endless amount of stuff, and
mm,
that's why I think every day is like, oh man, what am I going to get into today? You know, so I
mm.
think kind of think like books become a form of entertainment like that.
Yeah.
But it's the same with movies, right? I could go and watch. I start watching something the other day. Uh, the little flapper woman cartoon, Betty Bop or whatever.
Better put.
Hilarious cartoon.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like all this stuff that I'm kind of discovered
mm-hmm,
too on the
mm,
media end. But
mm.
yeah, I've become mostly a book guy.
Wow.
Just kind of a creature of habit now,
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
So when you read, where does application apply?
So I guess you might say most like recently just with work skills. So
Mm-hmm,
I'll read like programming and math books.
mm-hmm.
But then you have
That is so
applications.
wild. Reading, programming, and math
Oh,
books.
you know, I'm
Come
for
on.
programming. That's what you.
I know. That's just
Yeah,
why I'm so
uh,
not, which I find it.
yeah. You have applications in spiritual, IQ, psychological, tranquility. A
Mm,
lot of books can give you that. That's why I love philosophy because it's like it's not telling you what's right or wrong. I mean, there
mm,
there is a branch of ethics that's certainly within philosophy, but a lot of it is just like, who are you?
mm-hmm.
And I think that there is infinite application to that because there's like a
Different
lot of
moments.
dimensions of who you are.
I like the circle that you were
Yeah.
describing.
And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the things too, I find that the application in that sort of text becomes, like psychologically, we have a lot of emotional categories like
Mm,
happy, joy, sublimity. But what do
mm,
those mean? Well,
mm-hmm.
they're statements and they sort of map to this thing that's like
Mm-hmm.
more pleasure or happiness or affirming.
Okay.
But like when you say you're joyful and I say I'm happy, are we talking about the
The
same
same
thing?
thing. It's
How
like
can
the
we
color
even know?
theory. Like, how
Yeah.
do we know that but it's through the consistency? Is that what, how would you?
I don't know. These all seem rather subjective to me,
Mm-hmm.
but philosophy kind of gets beneath that and says, well, I'm a human, you're a human. And although
Mm-hmm.
we have the same sensory experience,
Mm,
what's going on in our souls?
mm-hmm.
You know, we sat there and saw some wild act of violence, we would both know there's something fundamentally wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond sort of this Hobbesian notion of like, oh, well, I see violence, so I know it's wrong because I don't want violence done against me. I mean,
Mm,
there's a rationality to it, of course. But I
mm-hmm.
think there's something deeper to where, like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? So I think there's an application in that. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's an application, I think, in oh, there's a social application too. People
Mm-hmm.
like interesting people. I
Mm.
always remember,
Hear that.
you know what I mean? And I think it's just like it's a social lubrication. Like you always have something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I knew a guy. I used to do some work in Chicago with some of the Bears players, and so you meet people from all walks of life. And there
Mm-hmm.
was a gentleman. His dad's a very well-known figure, but he would read the New York Times every morning. I think it's a propaganda paper, but whatever. It's got it's the standard of journalism. But he would read it every day, and it made him an extremely interesting, well-read person. Who knows how insightful it was on some issues,
Yeah.
But it was extremely impressive to like interact with this person because he was just so like well-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not anything I personally aspire to. I just have a curiosity about certain things and enjoy just kind
Mm-hmm.
of learning about things. But if you were someone who was sort of minded like him,
Mm-hmm.
it has a great application and I think just like social dynamism. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're talking with someone who's like, oh yeah, I just finished up the art and society section, so I'm going to start lecturing you on a Piet Mondrian or something like that. And you're like, oh, okay, I, you're an interesting, cool person. So yeah.
Whoa. You worked my brain there. It's not just what you're saying, it's the way you're
Mhm.
saying, the words that you're choosing that seem like they come likely because of your reading. That they just the words that you're using, like I never use that word. I
That's the
never.
irony. It's
Yeah.
very antisocial because it offends a lot of folks.
No, yeah, I can see how it could
I
though.
remember one
Mm,
guy got in my face. She's big. Blah, 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 blah.
mm,
I was like, listen, man, how would you appreciate me assuming anything about what you know or don't know?
mm,
You might be unfamiliar with some of these things. I don't know what's in your mind.
mhm,
In fact, when I don't know anything, I'll just ask you, what do you mean by that?
mhm, mhm.
You know what I mean? So I just look at it differently. I think that people talk with what they're surrounded around.
Yeah,
If
for
I was from
sure.
Florida, I'd probably be calling people breezy or whatever the term he
I'm
used to use.
done.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I say stuff that Oklahomans say. I
Mm,
call beverages soda and pop.
mm.
You talk like what you're around.
Right. And what you're around often, you using the vernacular of
It's
your
just
books.
sounds and symbols. It's the concept that matters. So I,
Mm-hmm.
I really am like misaligned often socially with people
Mm,
on that, where I think I might turn people off or offend them if I speak the way that I do.
mm,
Whether they call it pedantic. You don't want to be that, but I don't know. I just judge people as intelligent people, and I try to talk to them like adults.
yeah.
We get talked enough to like children from our
Mm,
media and our politicians.
mm,
I just think people should talk to each other like adults. If I'm
mm-hmm.
talking to a child, I'll be like, hey, like a child. But I don't talk to children with their family. So as talking to adults, I talk to adults like they're adults, like I would
Mm-hmm.
want to be talked to.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I don't
You mentioned
know.
bad food earlier
Yeah.
today. I'm just gonna be a little what I'm gonna call light. But you mentioned bad food. Hello, how are you doing? You brought your setup here. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Um, yeah, so you mentioned that bad food.
Mhm.
What is your favorite food?
So my favorite food, that's a great question.
And we can go like your decadent food,
Okay.
your fat boy food, just
Okay.
calling it
Yeah,
that,
sure, yeah.
and then what guilty pleasure food?
Yeah. My guilty pleasure, I'll start with that.
Yeah.
Twizzlers.
Which kind? OG?
Man, well, they're probably, I think that at the base, they're probably like all the same,
Okay.
even though they have some artificial flavoring on them.
Mm-hmm.
When you eat enough of them, you start thinking, what flavor am I
Like
eating?
Fruit Loops?
It's just
Like,
sugar.
is it? Right, right,
It's
right.
like some perverse form of like chemically altered sugar.
Yeah, that's true.
But I love Twizzlers.
Mm.
As far as
Hold on.
yeah.
You said Twizzlers. I'm thinking Twix. That's why I said which
Oh yeah,
one.
I can do
My
those too.
bad.
Yeah, yeah. With Twizzlers, pull and peel, uh, the assortment of
Oh,
flavors.
okay. Okay. Yes, yes,
When
yes.
you eat so many, they literally is just sugar.
Hmm.
And I don't know why I like them.
My mom likes Twizzlers. I
Yeah,
actually started liking them more after I saw, I think it's Swordfish with Halle Berry. She
yeah,
started
yeah. Great
eating real
hacker movie.
sexy. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
you better eat that. That's why I want to be cute like Halle
Now that
Berry.
I know more about computer science, I need to watch that because I think he was
Mm,
a hacker, John Travolta's
I
character.
don't know. I was
Yeah,
very attracted
that's
to
funny.
yeah, but I do know. Yeah, he was that. Mm.
um, Food. What else here? I enjoy. Oh man, Taco Empire has a great nacho. Taco
Oh,
Empire,
that's
right?
new.
Yeah, yeah, man. Those folks.
I love
Oh,
nachos.
it's so good.
I'm
It's
a
so
I'm a
good.
I was calling myself a
Hmm.
pescatarian, but for the last 20 days, for the next 30 days,
Hmm.
my birthday, my birthday September 20th, so until the
Well, happy
30th
birthday.
or 20th of this month, thank you. Um, I'm just I'm vegetarian
Okay,
for the
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I like my nachos with
Hmm.
little salmon
Yeah.
and those things. So I think, and
Oh, that
later on
sounds good.
afterward,
Yeah.
I could probably be like, well, actually, I don't want to eat
Yeah.
But what type of nacho do you get there?
So it's a mix of the steak. the steak beef and the chicken,
Mm.
and then they just glaze all this cheese and guacamole on it. It's so
Ooh,
good.
that sounds amazing.
But one thing about walking, I just walk around the different restaurants.
Mm.
Man, Twin Peaks, not a place I would have suspected,
Mm-hmm.
given Hooters and their terrible food. But Twin Peaks is actually really good food. I
Really?
think they actually pride themselves on that, at least speaking with the manager.
Yeah.
Not in a
Like,
Karen way. She just came hospitable.
not
They were
in a
being,
Karen
yeah,
way.
I wasn't like,
Wow.
let me see the manager. No, great staff, great manager. Kind of, are you enjoying your meal?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah. And then she kind of got into like, hey, we're actually a serious kitchen. Uh, a lot of these like places that I would have not have expected.
Mm-hmm.
Hopscotch is really good.
I've heard that. They have
Yeah,
like Brussels sprouts.
yeah.
People have told me about that.
Industry is really good as well.
I think
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And so I'll try. One of the beautiful things about I think my mentality now that especially when it's guarded, the open-mindedness still like projects in many
In
other
that
areas in
area.
life.
Oh,
So like food,
that's beautiful.
yeah. I mean, I'll pop a turtle in my mouth if it's cooked. And,
I just
yeah,
saw a turtle yesterday, but
yeah,
when you say when you're
yeah.
walking, I believe when you draw into nature,
Mhm.
nature draws into you,
Oh
or it
yeah,
makes it more relevant,
yeah,
right? It's already there.
mhm,
You just start to notice it more.
yeah.
But I saw a turtle. You can't eat a
Man, I
turtle.
saw the beautifulest thing the other day too. The best thing I've ever felt in my life. There was a turtle on MacArthur.
Mm.
Cars, people just treat this thing like it's the damn Autobahn.
Mm.
And that's a whole other issue I'll get into later. The walking and the danger of walking with these drivers. But the turtle was in the middle of the street, and I was about to have a heart attack because it was like, oh my God, something's going to hit it.
Mm.
This motorcycle biker, I wish I knew who this man was. God, I would give him a hug. He got off his bike, ran in the middle of the street.
Mm.
The cars weren't stopping either. They were still flying by him,
Yeah.
and he grabbed the turtle and saved it. And when he
You
did
got to
that,
witness it. Wow.
that feeling, it was the same feeling I had at the pool when I
Mm.
saved these wasps who try to drink and then they end up drowning themselves. You get that feeling that you saved a life or you've witnessed a life
Oh,
saved.
that's beautiful.
There's nothing that feels better than that. That's like the best high. And this kind of what motivated the app in a sense that if I could just have something where I could get that, where you just knowing each transaction, someone's being helped, but nothing beats seeing a life saved. That's like super spiritual. Even a turtle, I mean, it was just amazing seeing it.
I think turtles and trees, because of their evidence of the thing that we know of,
Mhm.
and I think it's just more popular. I'm sure
Yeah.
everything has its evidence,
Mm.
but how you can tell how old a turtle is based on its
Oh,
shell,
really? Okay.
supposedly,
Yeah.
and then the tree, how you can. I think those two make me feel connected to
Yeah.
history in that type of way,
Yeah.
and not you get what I'm saying,
Sure. Yeah. Of
history or
course. Yeah.
ancestry in that way. So
I,
that's why I think I'm really fond of turtles.
yeah.
Maybe eat them.
Well, yeah, I mean, I say that in a tribute of my open-mindedness.
Yeah.
I say actually when I say that, I remind myself. I used to go to New York every September,
Mm.
and you see these wild restaurants from all these different cuisines,
Mm.
and there was a place where they were serving octopus and various seafood. And, the ocean's a big spot.
Mm.
Who knows what they can drag up there,
Yeah.
put into a restaurant buffet. And so I just started eating all this like crazy seafood, exotic, I guess you'd call it.
Sure.
And I enjoyed most of it. Some of it I didn't like, but I was glad I tried it.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, like, it's been for better or worse, not to have contempt until you try something.
Sure.
And that's I guess it served me
Yeah.
moderately poorly, I'd say,
Mm.
but it also has given me a lot of enrichment in life as well too.
Yeah.
And once it's like refined
Mm.
and you actually know how to treat that mentality,
Mhm.
it's a beautiful thing, I think. So yeah,
This has been good.
yeah,
I see they're kind of doing some moving about here. I want to give them their space since they warned us.
yeah,
But do you think maybe we could interview again?
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I want to be supportive, so I'm
Thank
always here.
you.
Yeah,
This is so
yeah,
meaningful.
yeah.
Thank you so very much. Um, you're gonna be gone for, you said, maybe a week, maybe a month?
Oh, 4 weeks. So I won't be back until like
Oh, 4
December.
weeks.
Yeah. So I'm in November. I'm gone.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Do
I'm
you visit in between, or is it just gonna be home?
It might be home next year. I'm gonna get a feel for it. Like I said, I like Oklahoma City. It's expensive out there, man. You got to be bringing in
Yeah.
the dough. So I'm really working on like building capital and just being productive in that way. But I wouldn't run out there, you know, with Oklahoma resources, you know,
Yeah.
because unlike, I mean, hey, crime is rising in this city. DC has some areas though. If you don't want to be caught paying too low rent,
Oh yeah.
because it got some
Yeah.
areas, you know.
This means that. What do you
Yeah,
mean? Oh, I
yeah,
know what you do.
yeah. And my naive, sheltered, open-minded ass might find himself in a place, you know. So,
You said
yeah,
no now. You don't. You're not open minded.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
You told us no.
Yeah, I'm fairly prejudiced now on that. On that, yeah. So,
Oh, it's been so good. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
yeah.
Thank you for your time.
No,
Thank you
thank
for your
you.
life. Thank you
Yeah,
for this energy that you've allowed for me to just engage with you.
cool.
I'm so thankful for the moment.
Mm,
You really contributed to at which that was your plan
mm.
and you've executed
Oh, well,
so
thank you, thank
nicely.
you.
I have so much gratitude right now, and I
Oh,
think I'm a person that kind of experiences my
mm,
process of gratitude even later. Like you said, looking up
yeah,
in the sky, like that's just really
yeah.
nice. So I'm so appreciative.
Well, no, thank you. Like I said, I think this is great what you're doing. I wish you all the success in the world. I'm sure this will go well. You're very easy to talk to. So yeah, very cool.
You make it easy for
Blab.
sure.
I blab. I need
No,
to,
you
I need to
don't.
listen
You
more.
because I know there's a difference between difference between blabbing and you giving real insight to us.
Sure,
So
sure.
thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Well, I'm just a guy who walks around and reads. So.
Hey, I'm glad I ran into this person. Until next time, this is again, my name is Desiree. This is Richard. Thank you so much for watching this podcast, and see you next time. Desire Earth and Wellness on YouTube.